Hello, good morning. How are you? We are here to correct the sentences that I uploaded last class for you to practice. We're going to start with non-finite to infinitive clauses. Okay, this is the PowerPoint presentation that I showed you last class. And then after this, you have the sentences. Yes? So we are going to analyze them. For some of them, there are more than one ways of analyzing them, okay? So give me a second because I think I didn't share the screen with you. Let's start over. Non-finite to infinitive clauses. This is the PowerPoint that I showed you last week. And with the examples. And now you had to practice, yes, during last week, these sentences. So we are going to analyze them now. And as I was saying, for some sentences, there is more than one way of analyzing them. So if maybe you did it in a different way, you can show it to me and we can check it together. Yes. Okay. This is an example of a sentence that can be analyzed in several ways. I would like a sandwich to eat. I is the subject, yes. Would like a sandwich to eat is the predicate. Yes, I would like a sandwich to eat. I is the pronoun and the head of the noun phrase, and would is the primary auxiliary verb and the specifier of this verb phrase. Like is the main verb and the head of this verb phrase, and it is a transitive verb because it takes a direct object, of incomplete predication because it needs an objective complement. Okay? I would like what? A sandwich. So a sandwich is a noun phrase. It's a direct object that fulfills, that has the category of a noun phrase. So I would like what? A sandwich. That's a direct object. This noun phrase, yes, we analyze it inside. Yes, we have a, the article, the determiner and specifier, and sandwich, which is the noun and the head. Okay. I would like a sandwich for what? To eat. Yes. So an option could be that this is an objective complement. Why? Because it adds essential information about the object. Yes. And it has the category of a non-finite clause to infinitive. Yes. So we get inside the clause to analyze it. To is we mark it as no tense, no agreement. Yes. And it is an intransitive verb because it takes no object. Yes. Of complete predication. Yes, because it doesn't need an objective complement. Okay, and these initial letters here are simple declarative sentence. Okay, another way of analyzing this sentence, notice that there is a slight difference, is that maybe you marked that a sandwich to eat, all of that is a direct object. Yes, in that case, this direct object becomes a noun phrase. A is the article, the determiner, and the specifier. Sandwich is the head and the noun, and to eat is a post modifier. Yes, and it is the non-finite clause to infinitive, and you analyze it inside. Okay, so this could be another option. Yes, both of them are correct. Let us go to another sentence. They wanted to pay for their meals. They is the subject and the noun phrase. Wanted to pay for their meals is the predicate and the verb phrase. Okay? They is a personal pronoun and the head. Wanted is the main verb and the head of the verb phrase. And it is a transitive verb because it takes a direct object of complete predication because it doesn't need an objective complement to complement the idea of the object. To pay for their meals, all of these to pay for their meals is the direct object. Yes, and it is the non-finite clause to infinitive, to pay for their meals. Yes, so we get inside the clause and we analyze it like as if it were an independent clause. Yes, and because it kind of is. Yes, a different province inside the same country, as I told you in the previous video. So two is we mark it like this: no chance, no agreement. Pay for, yes, pay for. It's like a phrasal verb, yes, or also a verb phrase, yes, because I know that some of you may have marked this as a prepositional phrase, yes, but technically speaking, may pay for is it's all part of the meaning of the verb, yes. For is needed, it's a collocation, a word that is needed next to pay, yes, and it's not actually a prepositional phrase, yes. So having in mind that pay for is a verb phrase together or a phrasal verb, yes, we would say that this is the main verb, the head, yes. It is a transitive verb of complete predication, transitive because they pay for what? For their meals, yes. Their meals becomes a direct object and their meals, it's a noun phrase. There, it's a possessive pronoun, a determiner, and a specifier, and meals is the noun and the head of the noun phrase. This is a simple declarative sentence. Okay? If you analyze it, saying that for their meals is a prepositional phrase, that's okay. If that happens to you in the exam, I would appreciate the effort and I would take that into account because you know what a prepositional phrase is. But grammatically speaking, in this case, this is the correct way of analyzing the sentence. Okay? Let us go to the next one. They allowed the students to leave earlier. They is the subject and the noun phrase. Allowed the students to leave earlier is the verb. Yes. They is a personal pronoun and the head. Yes. And if we go to the predicate, we have allowed as the main verb and the head of the verb phrase. And it is a transitive verb of incomplete predication. Transitive verb because it needs a direct object. Incomplete predication because it needs an objective complement. Okay. They allowed who? The students. So the students is the direct object. And it's a noun phrase, the students. So I have to analyze it inside. The, it's an article, a determiner, and a specifier. Students are is the noun and the head of the noun phrase, okay? So now I get inside the clause. Yes, they allowed the students. We need something else there. Yes, they allowed students to do something. So to leave earlier is the objective complement. Yes, to leave earlier, objective complement, and it is a non-finite clause to infinitive. Yes, so we do like zoom into this second province inside this same country. Two, we have no chance and no agreement. Yes, so we mark it this way. Leave is the main verb and the head of the clause. And it is an intransitive verb of complete predication. Intransitive because it doesn't have any subject, any object after it. Yes, to leave earlier, you need no object. Earlier here, at first I thought it was an adjective because of the comparative form. But then after doing some research, I could understand that in this case, and according to the Oxford Dictionary, it can be used, and here it fits better the notion of adverb. Yes. And you can also write adverbial adjunct of time, but I will not ask you to do that. If you remember it, that's great. If not, it doesn't matter. Remember that in all verb phrases, yes, after the verb, you either have a direct object, an indirect object, the direct object and the objective complement, and you can, and if you always have an objective complement, it's an obligatory, a compulsory element in the sentence. Yes, but adjuncts, yes, are not compulsory elements in the sentence. I could say they allowed the students to leave. Yes, so this is what we call an adverbial adjunct of time. Adverbial because it's next to the verb. Yes, adjunct because it's optional. Of time because it refers to a specific time. Yes, they allowed the students to leave earlier. Yes, sooner than it was expected. Yes, that's the answer. Okay. And this is a simple declarative sentence. Okay. So the school asked me to give them a tour. So in this case, the school is the subject and it's a noun phrase. Asked me to give them a tour. It's the predicate and the verb phrase. Okay. The school, yes, we have to analyze the noun phrase inside. The is the article, the determiner, and the specifier. School is the noun and the head. Asked is the main verb of the sentence. Yes, and it is a transitive verb because it takes a direct object. And it is a complete predication because after the direct object, I don't need anything else to complement the idea or the meaning. Yes, so it is asked, in this case, it's a transitive verb of complete predication. Me is the indirect object. Yes, they asked what? To give them a tour. To give them a tour is the direct object. They ask this to whom? To me. So me, it's the indirect object, and it is an objective pronoun. Okay. So to give them a tour is a direct object, and it is a non-finite clause to infinitive. Yes, to give them a tour. To, no tense, no agreement. Give is the main verb and the head, and it is a transitive verb of complete predication. They wanted to give what? A tour. A tour is the direct object, and it is a noun phrase. An article, a determiner, and specifier. Tour is the head and the noun. Them is the objective pronoun. Yes, and it is an indirect object. They wanted to give a tour to whom? To them. Yes. So remember that to give them a tour, this is a clause, a non-finite clause to infinitive that we analyze it inside. Yes, as if it were an island inside the sentence. Yes, so we have to give to the verb a category and a function, and not only to the verb, but to all the words that come after the verb. Yes. And this is a simple declarative sentence. Let us go to the next one. I don't know if yes, this is the last one. She forced the defendant to admit the truth. She is the noun phrase. Forced the defendant to admit the truth is the predicate and the verb phrase. She is a personal pronoun and the head of the noun phrase. Forced, yes, is the main verb of the sentence. The main verb of the sentence and the head, yes. and it is a transitive verb because it needs a direct object. Yes, she forced who? Yes, I need a direct object. Of incomplete predication, she forced someone to do something. Yes, so I need an objective complement after the direct object. So it is of incomplete predication. Okay. Give me a second. Okay. So she forced who? The defendant. So the defendant is the direct object, and it is a noun phrase. The defendant. So the is the article, the determiner, and the specifier. Defendant is the noun and the head. Yes. Now let us get inside the clause. She forced the defendant to admit the truth. So to admit the truth is the objective complement. Yes. So it adds essential information about the object of the sentence. So they force the defendant to do what? To admit the truth. That is the objective complement. And to admit the truth is a non-finite clause to infinitive, as we can see it here. Yes, it's very important that you mark it in this way. So let us get inside the clause and let us analyze it. To is we mark it like this: no tense, no agreement. Admit is the main verb and the head of the clause. Admit is also a transitive verb because it takes a direct object. Of complete predication because there is nothing and you don't need any other kind of information after the direct object. She forced the defendant to admit the truth. To admit what? The truth. So the truth is the direct object of the verb admit. The truth is also a noun phrase. The is an article, a determiner, and a specifier. And truth is the head and the noun of this noun phrase. Okay? And all of this is a simple declarative sentence. Simple declarative sentence. Okay? So up to here, we have corrected non-finite to infinitive clauses. Okay, we're going to continue correcting the sentences that you had to do about nominal relative clauses. Okay, I have to make I have to clarify something that I made. I showed you something in the previous video and it wasn't correct. Yes, again, sometimes when I write things down in my folder and then I translate it into the computer, some things I do them automatically and I made a mistake. Yes, it can happen. So let me clarify that to you before we begin. Remember that these are nominal relative clauses. Yes, and when the nominal relative clause begins with that, yes, like in this example, the idea is that she's beautiful, yes, that shouldn't be the predicate here. In my previous video, I said that is the predicate, she is the subject, is beautiful, is the predicate. So when you have the that clause, as it is a subordinating conjunction, it's part of the predicate of the overall sentence and not of the clause. Yes, the idea is that. That's the end. In fact, let me put this here. Oops. The idea is that she is beautiful. Yes. If you think of it, the idea is that is one clause. She is beautiful. It's a different clause. So that, yes, the mistake that I made is that I wrote that it was the predicate. It's not the predicate because it's part of this predicate, of the overall predicate of the complete sentence. While if the clause begins with a WH word, like this, yes, what it is part of the predicate. It is only with the word that is not part of the predicate because it is a subordinate. It is a pure conjunction. It's a subordinating conjunction. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. Let me go to the sentences that we had to correct. Yes. She asked what the teacher had said. Okay, let me present this. She asked what the teacher had said. She is the subject, asked what the teacher had said is the predicate. And she is the noun phrase, the predicate is the verb phrase. Let us identify the relative clause. It begins with a WH word, what the teacher had said. That's the relative clause. Inside the relative clause, the teacher is the subject, and what had said is the predicate. Okay? Now let us analyze the different parts of the sentence. She, the subject, the noun phrase, it's a pronoun and the head. Oops, sorry. The pronoun and the head. Asked is the main verb of the sentence and the head. And it is a transitive verb because it needs a direct object of complete predication. Sorry, I had a brief interruption. She asked what the teacher had said. Okay, so that is asked is a transitive verb because it takes a direct object. She asked what the teacher had said. Yes, and all these clause, what the teacher had said, we call it a finite nominal clause. Okay. The teacher is the subject and it's a noun phrase. Yes. The is the article, the determiner, and the specifier, and teacher is the head and the noun. What is the pronoun and the head, and it's the direct object because that's the only function that it can fulfill. It's also a noun phrase because what is it? What the teacher had said. She said something. It, yes, so that's something that she said. It's a direct object. Yes, that's the relationship with the verb. And the predicate had said, had, it's an auxiliary verb, a specifier. Remember that the verb phrase, this is how it works. We have an auxiliary verb followed by a main verb. Yes, and the auxiliary verb, it's always a specifier, and it is finite. What does finite mean? That it bears tense and agreement. Tense, here I clarify it. Notice that it is a plus tense, which means makes reference to what is the tense of this auxiliary verb. It is the past perfect, had. And the agreement, that is to say the relationship with the person, with the subject of the sentence, or the clause in this case, is the third person singular because the teacher can be he or she. Yes. And said is the main verb of the clause and the head, and it is a transitive verb because it takes a direct object of complete predication because it doesn't have an objective complement. And this is a complex declarative sentence. Complex declarative sentence. Okay, let's just go to the next one. Okay, the idea is that prices are too high. Let us identify the clause. Here we find that. Remember that is part of the overall predicate. The idea is that is one clause. Prices are too high, it's a different clause. Okay? So the idea is the subject. Prices are too high is that prices are too high. It's the predicate. Okay. The idea is a noun phrase. It's the article, the determiner, and the specifier. Idea is the noun and the head of the noun. Is a linking verb, and it is an intransitive verb of incomplete predication. Yes, it's always that way. So the idea is that prices are too high. It's a subjective complement. Yes, it complements the idea of it complements the idea of the idea. It complements the identity of the subject. Okay, that is a subordinating conjunction and a complementizer. Okay, the idea is that, and we need something else. It complements something. It provides more information. More information is to come. And let us analyze the clause, the second province inside this country. Prices are too high. Prices is the subject, are too high, it's the predicate. Prices is a noun phrase. It's a noun and the head. Are, it's the linking verb, and it is an intransitive verb of incomplete predication. Too high, it's the subjective complement, because too high redefines prices. Yes, so it complements. Yes, remember that after an intransitive verb of incomplete predication, especially the structure of the verb to be, we have a subjective complement, too high in this case, which is an adjectival phrase. Too, it's an adverb, a quantifier, and a specifier. It's also a premodifier. I forgot to include it here. And high, it's the adjective and the head of the adjectival phrase. Yes, and it's important that, I don't know if I said this, sorry if I did, that prices are too high, all of these, the subjective complement, it's a finite nominal clause. Finite, yes, here, look at the cursor, nominal clause with the little line on top of the S, yes? And it is a complex declarative sentence, okay? They called the inspector whatever name they wanted. They is the subject, called the inspector whatever name they wanted, is the predicate. Now, let us identify the clause. It begins with a WH word, whatever. Whatever name they wanted is the clause. Yes? They, subject and noun phrase, they is the pronoun and the head of the subject. Called is the main verb and the head of the verb phrase, and it is a transitive verb of incomplete predication. Transitive verb because it takes a direct object. Of incomplete predication because it takes an objective complement. Here, sorry, I made a spelling mistake. See, I wrote OP, but it's give me a second. Okay, my computer went crazy. Sorry, there we go. So here it is objective complement. It's OC, no OP. That this can become a real mess because it's very hard to do it in a PowerPoint presentation. There we go, objective complement. Let me go back to the beginning. Okay, I don't know where I was, but called. Yes, the verb called. It's the main verb, the head. It is transitive verb because they called who? the inspector. So I need a direct object. Transitive verbs need a direct object. So they called the inspector whatever name they wanted. Whatever name they wanted, it's an objective complement because they call the inspector something. Yes, so the object needs a complement, and the complement is whatever name they wanted. And whatever name they wanted is a finite nominal clause. Finite nominal clause with a line on top of this dash on top of the S. Okay, the inspector here is a noun phrase. It's the article, the determiner, the specifier. Inspector is the noun and the head. Whatever name is the, let us go inside the clause, whatever name is the predicate, they is the subject, wanted is the predicate. Yes? So let us go to the subject, they is the pronoun and the head of the noun phrase. Wanted is the main verb of the relative clause, and it is a transitive verb because it takes an object. Yes? They call him what? Whatever name. Yes, so this is an object, and it is a direct object. It cannot fulfill another function. So wanted, it's a transitive verb of complete predication. Whatever name, yes, whatever is a relative pronoun, a determiner, and a specifier. Name is the head and the noun of the noun phrase. Yes. And here you have the initials for complex declarative sentence. Let us go to the next one. The truth is that your boyfriend betrayed you. Yes, the truth is the subject is that your boyfriend betrayed you is the predicate. Yes, the truth, it's a noun phrase. So we have the as it's an article, a determiner, and a specifier. Truth is the noun and the head. Is the linking verb of the sentence, and it is an intransitive verb of incomplete predication. That means that it needs a subjective complement. So the truth is that your boyfriend betrayed you. So the subjective complement is that your boyfriend betrayed you. Yes, and this is a finite nominal clause. Is that your boyfriend betrayed you? Yes, complements the idea of the truth. Yes, that is the truth, that your boyfriend betrayed you. Okay? That it's a subordinating conjunction and a complementizer, and then we go inside the clause. Your boyfriend betrayed you. Your boyfriend is the subject, betrayed you is the predicate. Your, it's a possessive pronoun, a determiner, and a specifier. Boyfriend is the noun and the head of the noun phrase. Betrayed you, betrayed is the main verb of the clause and the head. It is a transitive verb because it takes a direct object. Yes, your boyfriend. Who did your boyfriend betray? You. Yes, so betrayed you. Complete predication because I don't need anything after the object. And you, it's an objective pronoun and a direct object. And this is a complex declarative sentence. Okay? So these are all the sentences that you had to practice. Please write down your questions in the form that I leave so that on Thursday we have enough time to answer them all. Okay? Bye.